Hello and welcome to the Axcess Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Vin Mastana. This is our fourth week here at Pro Game Athletics, filming live, another live stream. Tonight we're joined by Tyler Cox, a senior at Clark High School, committed to West Virginia. Just put out our rankings last week, the top position player on Long Island. No, we're not going to get him to brag, but I'll do the boasting for him. Tyler also just led Team Beast to the first place championship and the Northeast Elite last weekend. So let's start with that, Tyler. I mean, it was as good of a baseball game as you could get against the Titans, the body armor team. So I mean, what was it like going out, finishing off your career with the Beast with the championship?
It was definitely great. I mean, we were all going into that tournament. We were just looking for a win. We knew no matter what, we wanted to end it with a win. We all of our brothers. It was just great to actually come out, play as a team. We all had fun that weekend. It was great to come out with a win.
Now, how long have you been with the Beast? It seems like you guys have good camaraderie. It just seems like that's the product of playing a lot of games with one another.
Yeah, I think I've been there 3 or 4 years. I think I'm in my 4th year now. But yeah, we put this team together. A few new guys came over this year, but it's just like a family environment over there. I mean, once they came in, they were right with the family. Just became one of the boys, became one of the guys. And it was just easy to get used to them. And they got used to us, and we just started playing as a team.
And can you tell our audience about that last play of the game? I mean, you always hear about walk-offs or wild finishes in baseball. I think that's what makes it the best sport there is. You see the World Series game the other day on a wild play at the plate. In some ways, it was kind of similar to that, you know, with the play extending beyond the initial, batted ball. So what do you remember from it?
So, I mean, Canizares was up at the plate. He hit like a chopper to the pitcher. Joe Patain was on third. He went straight home. All of us in the dugout thought he beat it. Guess he didn't, so they didn't call it. And then Canizares, when he got to first, started going to second. And then Kyle Chase, who was their pitcher, started running at it. He pitched a great game, by the way. I just want to say that. And so he just started running at Canizares, who was already at second base. And then Sammy Urania, who was on third, went home. Chase had to throw it off his back foot, couldn't get it there in time, and he scored and he won.
And now, just backtracking to your commitment to West Virginia, everybody's dream is to play Division I, and now it's close to becoming a reality. So can you tell our audience about how that came to be and what stood out about West Virginia in particular?
So there wasn't really much prior communication between us, but I saw, my coach recommended them as a school to look at. I saw they had a camp. I said, why not? We'll go to the camp. We're not doing anything this weekend. So I went down and played very well. And they said, well, we're very interested. We would like to have you come to West Virginia. So I said, all right, I'll think, because I had a few more options to weigh out. But West Virginia, just the team environment you could feel from all the players that were working the camp. The great environment just on campus. We were able to walk around campus a little bit. The stadium was beautiful. The whole school was beautiful. And it's just a top-level competition, so that really is what made me pick West Virginia.
Yeah, and looking at their roster, they actually had a number of Northeast guys, so I'm sure that kind of played some factor into it, that you felt like you were going to be welcomed, right? Because if you hear some stories about people that go away to Texas or Arizona, and they kind of, look down on players from the Northeast, right? Yeah, so going off of that note, I mean, they also had the notable game in the regionals a couple years ago with Long Island's own Sam Kessler. We won't go into that, but if you guys want to see, look up on YouTube, Texas A&M walk-off home run. So anyway, Clark 2019 county championship. I mean, one of the undisputed best teams on Long Island that year. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, what do you think? What was the difference? Allowing that team to get over the top as opposed to the previous 5 years where Clark had, right on the cusp of being the best team.
Yeah, well, the pitching was definitely the big part of it. We had Brendan Turton, Chris Lyden were the two main starters, and Brian Sullivan steps it up towards the end of the year. He was able to go in counties, and he was able to dominate the game he threw. And then the infield all around, Pavlos Papatsakis, CJ Cumbo, Nick Campagnolo, you got Chris Giudiano behind the plate, and then on and off at third, Brendan Turton was there too. He played a great third base. And really just the pitching is what got us through, and we were able to back it up with the bats. And
Turton in particular, it seemed like he was not going to take no for an answer. Like if he wanted the ball, Memorial Day in specific, I remember he went out on 2 days rest and got the win. I mean, leading up to that game, did you think there was any question who was going to get the ball?
No, there was no question whatsoever.
And what is it like? Take us behind the curtains, those conversations back there. You know, did anybody else? Was there an argument for anybody else to get the start? Maybe.
No, we knew Turton was getting the ball game 1, and then Line was going to back him up game 2. They can both do their job. Turton got a game 1, Line got a game 2. And it was easy after that.
Easy as that. So now, last year, obviously, no season, but you guys were, in my opinion, built to repeat because obviously you and, you know, you mentioned Chris Giordino and CJ Cumbo. Do you feel like that was a realistic possibility?
Yes. I think we would have been, if not the same, a much better team than the year before where we won counties. I think we could have gone a lot farther.
And Nassau Class A definitely is probably the toughest path to get through to a Long Island championship in my estimation. Besides the volume is also the quality of teams. So I mean, in that 2019 season, who were some pitchers that stood out as you know, really tough at bats?
Well, when we played Manhasset first round of playoffs, they had some solid kids. I know one of them's going to NYU now, and then because Jarvis goes there, who plays on Beast with me. But yeah, they have a sick rotation. They put up a good fight, but we were just able to hit them. And then division, they had Bradley, and they had one other kid, I forgot his name, but they're both
Nick
very
Presley.
good. Yes, they were both very good.
And now 2020, obviously there was going to be some realignment with how the conference games were going to be. What was your guys' initial reaction to that, doing the American and the National?
It was a little weird. We were really getting used to the 3-game series for each team, but then going for 1 game for each team was going to be a little weird. It was kind of took out like the strategy part of it because you couldn't decide when to pitch this guy, when to pitch that guy. It would just be your guy against their guy for 1 game. Whoever won just went out on top. Yeah,
the consensus that I got was that the better teams, the coaches of the better schools were not in favor of it because it didn't give you the opportunity to kind of feast on those weaker teams. And conversely, the weaker teams liked it because they didn't want to get swept by the superior team. So obviously you guys are one of the stronger teams. Coach Abriscato's been doing it for over 20 years now. We won the Long Island Championship in 2000, 2002, 2009. Just short of it last year in 2019. In your estimation, why has he been so successful? And you know, how does he run practices? It seems like you guys are as prepared as anybody when you get out on the field.
I mean, it's very complex with what he does, but when you look at it from a wider perspective, it's very simple. He teaches you what you have to do, that you have to do it all the time. You have to do everything right all the time. You have to hold yourself to a high standard and hold others around you to that same high standard. So everyone just plays their best, puts their best on the field, and then when we're done, we reflect on what we did wrong, we do it right the next time.
And it seems like players from schools like Clark are always successful at the collegiate level because you're prepared for it. You know, you've been in that environment, and you got called up as a 9th grader. And you led the team in almost every offensive category from what I remember. But before that decision to get called up, were you nervous about the prospect of being the youngest guy on the team?
Not really, because when I was younger, I played up with like a few of my older friends. So I was always used to playing against older guys, better competition. So I knew that if I went out there and did what I do best, then I would have no problem fitting in, and I just did that.
And the one thing that stands out when I watch video of you or in a game is how complete your swing is. You know, you balance. Is that something that you feel like that always came naturally, or did you have to work, harder to get to where you are?
Well, I used to have a very simple contact swing, but over the last few years I've grown, I've gotten stronger. I've tried to implement more power into it. So there's been a few other guys that have helped me get the power down with the balance, keep everything complete. One of them was Patrick Anderson. He's currently with the Washington Nationals, coach at Hofstra, and now I'm currently working with Gabby LeBron. He works with Beast, and then he actually has his own team with Beast. So he knows what he's doing. He's a former professional player. There's a lot of guys knows what he's doing. Yeah,
the name rings a bell, and you worked with Tim Gibbs as well too, right? So during March, April months when we were in lockdown, how were you able to stay sharp and stay focused?
Well, it was a lot of just going into my backyard, my driveway, just hitting off a tee, throwing into a net. I was able to go up to the field with 1 or 2 guys, be able to hit off of BP every day. We were able to long toss, and couldn't really play much game simulation stuff, so you just had to focus on more mechanics. get your swing down, get your timing down, and just keep the arm strong, keep everything else strong.
Now, you were able to get your college commitment out of the way almost a year. It was around this time last year, right? But did you get the sense that some of your teammates and friends, kids from other schools that were uncommitted seniors, were, feeling overwhelmed, disappointed with falling behind during this process?
Yeah, especially with COVID. That COVID pushed back a lot of things because of all the dead periods. It was a lot harder for coaches to actually see you if you hadn't already been in contact with them. So there was a lot of schools that you might have been looking at that you basically had no chance with anymore. Mm-hmm. That's why you see a lot more kids like from the 2021 class reclassing because they're going to go for another year. But yeah, a lot of guys, they were able to work it out. Beast has some great coaches that have a lot of connections. They'll be able to talk to a college about you and basically have the college coach take their word and know that you're a good player even if they have yet to see you play. So that helped out a few of our guys. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would say that it's been pretty overwhelming for a lot of them. Absolutely, and I think it's going to have an impact for a couple of years now down the road now. I wish it was not the case, but it just seems natural. There's going to be some sort of domino effect with the next couple classes as well. But anyway, on a brighter note, your Boston Red Sox, which first I should introduce that even though he's from Long Island, he's a Boston Red Sox fan, and you have had a lot to cheer about in recent years. 2018, most notably, you guys won the World Series. Mookie Betts, MVP, and now he's in the World Series. So how has that changed your fandom for Mookie Betts? Do you think that you're a Mookie Betts fan or you're a Red Sox fan and he's not with you anymore? No, I'm definitely a Mookie Betts fan. I mean, he's just a great guy on and off the field. He's a great player. I would say he's very confident, but he's very content with what he does. He doesn't try to shove it in people's face. He's not very cocky, but he's one of the better players in the league right now, and he proves that every day in, day out. Mm-hmm. And I was just listening to Starting Nine podcast, and they were talking about Mike Trout versus Mookie Betts, and personally, I think Betts had the better year in 2018, but outside of that, Trout has kind of been overall body of work has been better. Would you agree that Trout is still the best player in the game? Yes, I think he's the most complete player in baseball right now. And that's coming from a Betts fan, so I have to agree with that. And this will probably be outdated in a couple of hours once Game 6 of the World Series start, but let's hear a prediction for tonight. Do you think the Dodgers get it done or the Rays force a Game 7? I'd say the Dodgers take it home tonight. I think a lot of people are agreeing with that, but Blake Snell is a tough customer. Rays have him going tonight in Game 6. And last couple questions before I let you go. Favorite artist? Post Malone. Okay. Favorite pregame meal? Gotta say Taco Bell. Okay. It's kind of a good luck charm for me. Even though you gotta run to the bathroom afterward. Favorite app on your phone? Instagram. Okay. And let's see, last one. Favorite vacation spot? I'm gonna say Massachusetts, especially in wintertime. Fenway Park? Yeah, especially in wintertime with all the hockey and everything, the snow, it's great. Yeah, New England in the wintertime is definitely beautiful. So guys, thank you once again for tuning into the Axcess Baseball Podcast. Thank you, Ken Courtright, for making this series of podcasts possible, and Pro Game Athletics for hosting this podcast. All right. Wait, so you record the whole thing too?